Good evening. You're all welcome. It's so great to have you all here. Thank you for coming. Um, I can see that we have quite a number of people joining us this evening, and it's a pleasure actually to be able to speak to you. My name is Tolulope. Okay, I'm the convener of End Realities, which is Engineering Empowerment Initiative for Africa, and it is a pleasure to have you all here this evening. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please just type in the chat that you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me just know if you can hear me, you can see me. All right, I'm getting all the yes, yes, yes. Okay, great. So it's so great to have you all here with us this afternoon / evening. And I know we're really going to have a very lovely time. Thank you for signing up for this event and for coming. It's a pleasure to have you all here this evening. So, well, I'm going to be starting by introducing you to our organization. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of us before, but I'm just going to start and give you a brief overview of actually what we do and why we're here and why we are organizing this. All right. So our organization is called Eng Reality, that is Engineering Reality. So we've got the Eng Realities, and our official name is Engineering Empowerment Initiative for Africa. So we are a non-governmental organization registered in Nigeria, and our aim is to advance the cost of engineering in Nigeria, both by, by speaking to people like this, in events like this, by working together with institutions of learning, that is universities, secondary schools, by also working with the government to create policies that favor and advance engineering in Nigeria and Africa at large. So that's really what we do. And so if you're going to be hearing a whole lot more from us as time goes on. But yeah, today's event, let me come down to today's event and what we're going to be speaking about today. So today we've tagged it Unlocking the Future of Engineering in Nigeria. And that's so great. When I saw that topic, I was like, this is brilliant, right? Because a lot of people here, I want to believe 90% of us, 95% of us are engineers. And so it's so great to have us here. And I feel like, just because the way things have been in Nigeria so far, sometimes we don't get to appreciate this degree that we have gone on to study. Research has it that most of the brilliant students from secondary school want to actually go into universities to study engineering. So it's like engineering and engineering courses are the courses that get the most brilliant students to come to them. And so that's supposed to really translate into something great for Nigeria, even for the people that come into those careers. But it's been noticed that, even though we have very brilliant people coming and they come into these places, but at the end of when they are graduating, when they are leaving universities, we'll find out that it doesn't look as if it seems like they've leveled up. It doesn't look like as if they have that shine that they had initially as brilliant students going into engineering. And what's the reason for that? So many reasons that we can count. Some of it is frustration through the school process, depending on which university or higher education institution of learning that you attend. There's so many frustrations that come along how students read and pass for exams. Apart from that, also there's frustration that comes along the fact that there is lack of inspiration based on the fact that just being in the university system, sometimes there's so much expectation that you've gone with, and then you get in there, there is really no inspiration to become the great engineers that we've really read about and we want to become. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is because when people come out of the universities, it's very hard to seek opportunities. It's very hard to find any engineering job that wants to employ you, or it's very hard to even know how to go forward. You get so, and that's why we are now speaking today on this topic called Unlocking the Future of Engineering in Nigeria. And what we are aiming to do is to just give tips to the people that are still in the university system and also the people that are already out of it. How do you unlock the future? How do you create a future? I myself, I'm an engineer. I schooled in Nigeria, my first degree, my second degree in Nigeria. And how have we, and we're also going to be hearing from our speakers today, have they been able to leverage on them being engineers or studying engineering as courses to leverage into a future and a future career that they like and they love and can make them fulfilled. So that's what we're really speaking about today. So stay set. Our speakers are ready to speak to you. They are all ready to inspire you. And if you have your questions, you can type them into the chat. We're going to have a Q&A after each speaker speaks. And once you put the question in the chat, we're going to answer it. And also, if you have any other question that's not even related to what we said today, but it's engineering related, we're going to take that in our roundtable Q&A. So I want to welcome you once again to this event. I know, because one of the things, I haven't spoken to so many engineers, one of the things that is really in the mind of a lot of people is the fact that, you know, there's a lot of frustration about what do we do next after university. There's no places that want to employ us. What do we do next? Or how do I go further with this? So today you're going to be hearing a whole lot about how you're going to go further. These are seasoned engineers with experience, and they're going to be sharing with you how they've been able to navigate their own journey and how they've been able to make sense, so to speak, of that course that they study, how they've been able to make it into a career that they love. Okay, you hardly find anybody in engineering that says, I didn't choose engineering, they gave me the course. No, it's not really engineers. Most engineers actually choose to be in engineering. And that's the interesting thing. So my desire today, and our desire at EEI, is as you listen, you know, you find that spark, that ignition, and you begin to see a new perspective and also seek opportunities that takes you further. All right. So this is how we're going to run into today. We're going to have our first speaker speak to us about how to use further education to leverage as an engineer. There are so many opportunities now for migrations, for so many other things, but how do you leverage with further education? Do you just go in, you know, what do you do if you want to further education as an engineer? How best do you go about it? That's what the first speaker will be speaking to us about. The second speaker will be speaking to us about the opportunities that exist in the Nigerian system and how we can actually position ourselves in such a way that we get the best of that opportunity. Even though these opportunities are few, how can we position ourselves to get the best of these opportunities? And then we're going to have a roundtable talking about engineering generally in Nigeria and talking about some of the questions you want to access, okay? And then following on from that, we have something special to unveil for you guys, okay? So just stay tuned. We're ready. And then I'm going to be bringing up our first speaker shortly. So please, as you listen, I want you to just note your questions. Like I said before, please note your questions and we are going to answer them. Our first speaker for the day is Mr. Adewale Adeniyi. Okay, so I'm going to be bringing you up in a moment, but I'm just going to read his profile here that we have. Adewale specializes in engineering project management. His experience cuts across managing projects in mechanical engineering design, fabrication and construction of onshore and offshore assets for national and multinational companies. He currently works as a project engineer at Pivot Energy and also undergoing a Commonwealth-sponsored scholarship in the United Kingdom for engineering business management. Adewale has the passion for imparting knowledge and has been involved in inspiring and mentoring young engineers about succeeding in their careers. This is something he has done for a long time. I see him every time, just inspiring young engineers about how best to go about their career. And it's going to be doing similar things today, speaking to us about how best can we leverage on what we have. So please, can you welcome Mr. Adewale in the chat? He's going to be taking the stage in a moment. Please, can you welcome him? Tell him he's welcome. And you're welcome, sir. Good afternoon. Can you unmute so that we can hear you? You're welcome. Can you all still hear us?
Thank you very much.
Good. All right. Okay, good.
Thank you very much. Confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. You're very much welcome, sir. And the floor is yours. I'm just going to unpin myself and then you can take the floor, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to sincerely appreciate the convener and the facilitators of this program. I want to say that they have really done well, and I want to also welcome everyone, to this session, and also welcome the speakers as well. It takes dedication and a commitment to honor, an invitation like this. So it's what we like to do, what we love to do, when it has to be, when it's something that has to do with young engineers, gaining knowledge, is something that we have passion for. Thank you very much. So I don't know if you are going to be sharing the slide from your hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will share the slide, sir. I will share it. Just a minute. It's taking the slide a minute to come up. Sorry, we're just trying to share the slide. I think we have too many things up on the screen. If you try to share from your hand, if it's proving difficult from here, you can share from your hand, sir. Okay, I'll try to share it one more time. Okay, yeah, I think we have it now.
Okay, I think I can see it too from here.
Yeah, it's coming, right?
Okay, yeah, I think you are in slide 3. Go to slide 2 just to give.
Yes, that's fine, sir. I'm just going to give you.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to welcome you all to this session. I'll be talking about how we can use further education to, unlock the future. But before that, I want to talk about where we are, in the educational sector in Nigeria, and what is the state of things, and how do we move from here. So, a little bit of my background. I studied mechanical engineering from Federal University of Technology, where I graduated 2009, and I'm a project management and engineering management professional. I'm a PMP certified. I'm a certified professional in engineering management as well. And in terms of development impact, I believe I have done so well as well. So I am currently on Commonwealth Share Scholarship at the University of the West of England, studying MSc engineering, engineering and in bracket business management. So my outline for today, I'll be talking about my my work experience, what I've done in the past. I'll be talking about Nigeria's educational sector. What does the Nigeria's employment sector look like, and what are the newly emerging technologies? What are the economic sectors that we have in Nigeria, and how do we further our education? Considering the status quo, and also what are the professional societies that we have, and the major excuse some of us have is that how do I fund my how do I fund my my education, or maybe you are looking at issue of funding, and also if you are working alongside, how do you further your education as well? So my work experience, I am stating this just for us to know what our career path, what my career path looks like, so that maybe that can also influence your decision as well. I started as a maintenance technician at Guinness Nigeria, and afterwards I worked as a pipeline design engineer and also as a subsea construction engineer with Subsea 7. And from there, I started my project management career at Pivot GIS and Global Ocean Engineers. And I have managed some projects as well. And in the course of working, I'm still working, and also currently an MSc student at the University of the West of England. I'm working remotely. I'm supporting projects in Nigeria. So let's go to the business of the day. What does the Nigeria's educational sector look like? We are all aware that currently the educational system in Nigeria is in shambles, and we are all a product of the same system. But I'll be telling you how some of us did it. How we all emerged from the old system, and at the end of the day come out successful. So we are not here to discuss incessant strike, maybe ASUU strike, constant ASUU strike, but how can a young engineer, an engineering student, leverage on, the opportunities around, and get himself the best of the moment. Yeah, looking at the engineering curriculum, we will understand that comparing the curriculum that we are currently running in Nigeria and the one in developed countries, we can discover that there are a lot of gaps. So how some of us did it when we graduated was that, yes, we discovered that what we were taught in the school was not enough. So, and we found a way at which we can, complement whatever we were taught in school, by doing some having some additional trainings and, we got ourselves involved in some other skill acquisition programs that actually, we are leveraging upon today. And looking at the Nigeria's educational sector, we discovered that the partnership between the academic and industry, it's not really cordial in the sense that the academic is on its own, the industry is on its own. There is no interaction between the two in such a way that the academic is given the opportunity to solve industrial problems. So in an environment where there are no cordial relationship between the academic and the industry, there is a tendency for fresh graduates, fresh graduates to have this knowledge gap of what is going on in the industry. And this is actually the main reason why some of the engineering graduates, they say they are not employable, because one will expect that while you are in the school, you are, getting conversant and getting familiar with the problems in the industry, so that by the time you get in the industry, you have, you have this sense of solution, this sense of, solving the problems. But unfortunately, the gap is there. And when we graduate, we we get to the industry to, meet reality. And also in terms of research and development, we discover that there is, there's virtually no much research going on in the academic sector. Yes, we have people graduating with MSc, PhD every day, but how have they been able to solve problems in the industry? I am not really aware of any problem, any problem that has been solved, by the academic in the industry. But we believe that, as time goes on, we are, with good engineering policy in place, we believe that this academic and industry partnership, can be made solid. And also, like I said earlier, the job opportunities are there. The job opportunities are not really there, rather. But the fact still remains that the little jobs that are available, there's still this comment that most of the engineering graduates that are being produced in our university that are not employable. And I've told you the reason. The reason is that there is no other relationship between the academic and the industry, so that we don't really understand what the problem is and what is being done in the industry, and how can we leverage on that to structure our academic programs to ensure that our graduates are employable and are able to solve industry problems. So the next slide is what are the newly emerging technologies? Yes, you can discover that engineering and technology are developing rapidly. There are newly emerging technologies. It's no more like before, where we have conventional engineering programs, engineering disciplines, which are mechanical, electrical, civil, agric, and all of that. We have a lot of newly emerging disciplines now that are coming out from this conventional engineering discipline that we used to know. And some of them is the development that they've been born out of the fact that there are developments happening in the information technology sector, and also the information technology sector is providing support for other sectors as well, in terms of software development, in terms of system simulation, and data analytics, artificial intelligence, and that the gospel being preached by advanced countries now is that we should all move to renewable energy, and there is a lot of development and a lot of technological advancement in that aspect as well. Also in the robotics and the project management, there are a lot of advancement in this area, and also in terms of in the area of cloud computing, there are a lot of development happening in this area. Can you just move the slide? Okay, so looking at the Nigeria's economic sector, I'm putting this slide forward because I want us to break it down. Like, okay, as engineers, in which sectors are we really playing? Like, okay, as an engineer, we should be able to identify a particular sector where we belong to. Yes, we are consuming nations. We don't do much of manufacturing and production, but I think the first thing remains that some of us, as we are graduating, we need to we need to belong to a particular sector. We say a jack of all trades, make a jack of all trades, make a a master of none. Yeah. So the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is that we have the major economic sector we have in Nigeria is the FMCG, which is the manufacturing and production. We have the oil and gas energy. We have the upstream, the downstream, and the sector that are supporting the oil and gas and energy. We have the built environment. We have the power sector. We have the automotive sector. We have the agricultural sector. We have the facility and the asset management sector. These are the sectors we engineers who play a lot. We play a lot, and these are the sectors these are the major sectors that we have in Nigeria. And also, in the employment sector, within these economic sectors, like I said, we are consuming nation, so we don't really have much of manufacturing and production apart from FMCG and other linked chemical and oil and gas sector. But the first thing remains that we need to identify where we belong to in this engineering system value chain. As an engineer, as a graduate, you cannot pinpoint where you belong to in this in the engineering system value chain. You may find it difficult to identify, a career path for yourself. So what I'm trying to do in this slide is just to break it down for you so that you will understand. You will ask yourself one simple question: that in all this value chain, this is engineering system value chain, where do I belong? Then where you know where you belong, then that is where you can now look at opportunities around that area. You cannot belong to all the sectors. You cannot be playing in all the sectors. You have to specialize. You have to, look at an area where you can, apply your knowledge, where you can, focus on, and then if you are having a kind of a career plan, if you are developing a career plan and you want to be strategic about it, it's better for you to identify this particular part you are going to be playing, then look for opportunities around that area. Please, the next slide. The next one. Okay, yeah. I want to introduce us to this concept of system thinking. Before now, the way we run our programs, it's very possible for us as an engineer to work in isolation. Like, we don't really understand what is going on in other sectors. But with the concept of system thinking, we need to understand our interface, our interactions with other disciplines, and our interactions with other sectors as well. So this concept of system thinking let us, allow us to see things as a whole and see where we belong to within the system, and how we can interact with other players within the system. So, sorry, the next slide, please. I want to take us to the engineering system value chain. So in the engineering system value chain, we have the engineering and product design, which is always the beginning of any engineering design activity, product design activity. And we have the procurement and supply. We have the and of course project management integrates all of them. We have the fabrication and construction, manufacturing and production. We have the installation and commissioning. We have the operation and the maintenance, and we have the commissioning. These are engineering system value chain, and as an engineer, you need to know where you belong in this value chain. Are you a design engineer, or you belong to the engineering design or product design? Are you playing in the procurement or supply sector? What are you doing? Are you working in the fabrication and construction or the manufacturing and production sector? And Also, you ask yourself, am I in the installation or commissioning, or what I'm doing, is it about operations and maintenance? And am I working in the sector that, deals with the end of life management of engineering system? So as a graduate, you need to identify where you play in this value chain, so that you look at opportunities within this area, then focus your career development, focus your skills acquisition, training and knowledge on that particular area. Then with that, you will be able to come up with a very robust career plan. Going by my own background, I've been involved in the product and engineering and product design before. I've been involved in the fabrication and construction sector before, and I've been involved in the operation and maintenance sector before. But when I was, when I sat down and analyzed the way I was moving, I discovered that I was actually becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. So when I did this, I discovered that I needed to focus on a particular section in the engineering system value chain. That was why I focused on engineering and project management. I had to adjust myself towards that part, and the first thing I did was to register for project management training. And at the end of the day, I became a PMI, PMP certified person. And from there, I started looking for opportunities in that area. And to God be the glory, today I'm a project engineer, and I've managed a lot of projects in that in the oil and gas sector. So what I'm trying to say here is that look at this system value chain and identify an area where you think that your skills, your skill and knowledge lies, and also create a niche for yourself in that area, and develop a career plan for yourself. The next slide, please. So how do we further our education now? Yes, we have different options, and the first option is doing professional certification. Yes, this professional certification may require you to have some experience. It may require you to have developed some skills, but the first thing remains that you need to understand in that particular section of in that particular sector, in that particular section you want to base your skill acquisition and training on in the engineering system value chain. You need to understand the professional certifications that are relevant to that particular area. You need to do that. And also, if you are going to go on a certificate course, you need to understand the kind of certificate course you need to do in that area as well. Yes, you may be considering to go for a master's, you may be considering to go for postgraduate studies, you may be considering to go for any other diplomas or whatever. But the first thing remains that you need to understand that particular section and what are obtainable, and that what are relevant to that particular section. Also, don't forget to do some self-development trainings and get some skill as well. Unfortunately, Nigeria happens to be a country where we glorify certificates. But coming to a place like UK, you discover that this is a skill-driven country where you have to. It's not only based on your certificate. You have to acquire some skills that you can put to use. People can see that okay, you can solve problems by yourself, for yourself as well. So these are the various ways by which you can further your education. Next slide, please. What are the professional societies that you can belong to? Yes, we have some local professional societies like Nigerian Societies of Engineers, Nigeria, OREN, and all of them. Yes, these guys, we may feel that these guys have not been, these guys have not been performing their duties. They have not been, performing to expectations. But the first thing means that you need to be identified with a professional society in your own country, or that are local to your environment. Yes, you gain more from experience. I feel that you gain more international professional societies. Like me now, I joined PMI, GFMI a long while ago, and what the kind of knowledge resources I've gained through PMI, they are second to none. I joined the American Society of Engineering Management, which is from the US. I gained a lot of knowledge resources from them. which I feel that they are actually contributing to my development. But I am also a registered engineer in Nigeria, and I'm also a member of a corporate member of the Society of Engineers. But these local organizations, we need to join them as well, just for us to be identified with them. We may not, be partaking in their activities, but I will still advise that as we graduate, we try as well to be identified with the local professional society and also get to one international professional society that so that you can you have you have the knowledge of best practices, yes, and you can also break boundaries as well, especially when it comes to traveling abroad and also having international certifications as well. So these professional societies are very, very important. So some of us, the next slide, please. So some of us may be thinking of, okay, how do I get funding for how do I, because most of us, the excuse we give is that, okay, I don't have money, I want to work first. Yes, it's good. You can work, and at the same time, you're thinking of how you want to further your education. Some of us, if we give you the stories of how we got all these certifications, it will amaze you that some of us, we use up to a year savings at times. It's something you plan for the year, up to a year savings to get some of these certifications. Like my PMP, I always share the story. Yes, we didn't have a good job at that time, but the first thing is that we were so intentional about our development. For my PMP now, I belong to a cooperative society that I was contributing 20,000 naira every month from January to December, and the following year, January, I used the money to register for PMP, and the PMP. After having that PMP, a lot of I experienced a great change in my career, because I was actually the first person to have PMP session, and that actually for me to go to project management. Yes, scholarships as well. We have brilliant guys among us who can compete with their counterparts all over the world. We have some international scholarships that you can apply to, like I am here. I'm in the UK on Commonwealth Share Scholarship after working for over 10 years. I saw the need for me to go for masters, and I didn't have the money, but I was scouting around, I was looking around for scholarships, and at the end of the day, I got the Commonwealth Share Scholarships, and I'm currently in the UK now. And as I'm still providing support to projects in Nigeria, I'm still currently working as a project manager as well. So that's some foundation and the NGOs as well, who can also assist you in funding your further in your advanced education as well. So while you are working, you have to put your professional development at heart. You don't get distracted by your engagement or your work. You have a time, that you reflect on your professional development and make use of opportunities around you to get this funding. If you don't apply, like I told someone today, if you don't apply for these opportunities, you are not going to be selected. So you are expected to look for these opportunities and apply for. So those are, I think, I've said enough on the issue of funding. So the next slide, please. So as per working alongside, yes, you are working alongside, like I said, you can start thinking of your professional development. How do I move from here? How do I continue my education and stuff like that? But the first thing is that you need to have a career plan. You don't join the bandwagon. You don't say, okay, because people are doing something that you also need to do it. If what they are doing does not, go in line, it's not in consonance with your career plan, I would advise you to join the bandwagon. So that's why I say you have to be strategic. You have to think of, you don't have to be, you have to, think of short-term benefits, on your plans. You need to think about long-term benefit as well. That's why I emphasize that you have to be strategic. Yeah, like let me just give you an instance. Like me, I knew that the only master program that can register for is engineering management. But before I got the the admission for the engineering management, and before I got the scholarship, I already had a certification in engineering management. I think that was strategic enough because those were things I mentioned when I applied for the Commonwealth scholarship. Because I told them that I've already done something, this and that, in this regard as well. So maybe I can be considered, and at the end of the day, I was considered. So, like I said, plan your career. Plan your career. You don't work without plan. When you work without plan, anything that comes to you, you just accept, and at the end of the day, that could be the kind of a long-term consequence. But the first thing remains that you need to plan your career. If you need to get a mentor, you need to get a mentor. Then do your thing. Do your thing, have your own plan. Don't let anybody discourage you. When you have plan, when you have ambitions, don't let anybody to discourage you. Make sure that you do your thing and consult. You have mentors, you get guidance, you get advice from people that have gone that route before. Just try and as much as possible to do your thing. Don't get distracted, and also try as much as possible to be distinguished. And I think that's all from me. I hope that I've been able to give you some little confusion about how you can go about how you can go about furthering your education. Thank you very much.
That was brilliant, sir. That was really, really very brilliant. Thank you so much for really sharing from your heart there. That was so brilliant. I can see a lot of stuff going on in the chat. But that was really brilliant. Thank you so much for running us through. And I think he's giving us some very key truths there. In fact, that last slide, if I were you, I will have just screenshot. We're going to put it up again, maybe towards the end, so that you can screenshot it and keep it. Because I think that, he said so many things to us, and I can see a lot of people raising their hands already and all of that. But that was so good. He talked about, the economic sectors, and, we're going to talk about job today. But when we talk about job, it just looks like one big thing for everyone. But he has really broken it down. I like that. Find your space in those economic sector. Where would you like to work? What are the engineering opportunities you can spot in this sector? So I thought that was really very good. He talked about system thinking. Oh my God. If you get that early as a graduate, you're going to really be, as in like, it's going to be easy for you because you really understand where you are placed and how you fit into things. So even when you go for interviews, you're not giving them cramped answers. You're giving them answers of where you really fit into things. So that's why that is really good. Also he talked about, jack of all trade, master of none. You need to start mastering. Where are you good at? And start reading up on that. I used to say to people, read more about engineering, get inspired. Don't just say, oh, I know how to do everything. Okay, you just need to, find a way to condense and look at the areas that you might be interested in. If you're a student, start looking at top 5 places you would like to work, while you're waiting for while you're even before you graduate. Another thing he said was about relevant professional certification. He talked about joining professional society. That's so important. Some of these things, like joining professional societies, doesn't even cost money at the student level or at a graduate level. So he spoke about that. He spoke about being intentional about your personal development, and I think that's so key. And that's the one I want to really key into before he gets to answer the people that are raising their hands and their questions. I know that that's so key. Like your personal development, you need to hone it. I know that the government is maybe not doing stuff and everything, but we can't wait forever. You need to just own your own self. He said, plan your career, be strategic, be distinguished, and also don't be discouraged. Do your own thing. Don't let anybody discourage you. I thought that was so profound. So thank you so much, Mr. Adewale. That was so good. So I can see quite a number of people raising their hands, and I know that we have some questions in the chat. Do we have any question in the chat? I'm going to take that first. Okay, all right. So I can see, so I'm going to just let the people that are raising their hands, I can see, oh, we're now 5, but I'm going to start with Abu Shahid. So I will ask you to unmute. Please, can you just ask your question? Abu Shahid, you want to ask a question? Can you unmute? Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm muting. Okay. Can you hear us, Abu Shahid? Okay, okay. Yes, I can see you're on mute. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I want to ask my question.
Yes, please.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Are you hearing me? Okay. I'm not hearing you.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Okay, I think he's trying again. We'll just give him 1 more minute while he tries to do that. Okay, Shahid, we'll come back to you in a minute. Let me just go to Dolapo. Dolapo, I'm going to be asking you to unmute. You're raising your hand. Dolapo Bashit Oyewale, do you want to ask your question?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
I do read about industrial engineers.
Yes.
They have a very broad knowledge of different things in schools. But how do we go about choosing career in the field, since we have many opportunities to choose within our field, like project management, project engineer, product designers, and many more? How do we go about it, Mr. Adewale? Sorry,
Okay.
Engineer Adewale.
Okay. Sorry, we'll come back to that. Just note that. I will note that in a minute. We allow Idris to also ask his question. So Idris, you can ask your question, and then we take the two together.
Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, engineer, for the wonderful presentation. My question is actually similar to what the other guy asked earlier. That how can someone switch career after getting a job in an industry he or she is not interested in? Say, for instance, someone got a job in maybe in the finance sector, and actually is skilled in a product design, engineering design, or maybe got in a job in procurement and supply chain management sector. So how can someone switch career in such area? And we all know that the unemployment rate in Nigeria is very, very alarming, it's very high. So if someone find a job in such a sector, how can someone switch? Does it have to quit the job or goes into personal development? That's my question, sir.
Okay, great. You can answer, sir. You can answer those two.
Okay, thank you very much. For the first question, you said you read industrial engineering. Industrial engineering is very broad. I would like to use very, very broad. It's just a discipline that it's a discipline where you are taught everything you need to know about how to manage an industry. You understand? So the thing now is that if you look at your curriculum, you discover that you did a lot of things on the production management, maintenance management, facilities. There are a lot of things, you understand. But the fact still remains that there will be just one particular course that you enjoy most out of them. There'll be one particular course, maybe production management, engineering management, or maintenance management, or all of them. There will be one particular course that you enjoy most. The thing is, you need to develop more on that particular aspect. If you look at in an industry, we have the production manager, we have the production manager, we have the logistics inventory managers, we have the maintenance managers, we have a lot of them. You understand? You cannot be all of this. You understand? But the first thing means that particular area you feel like your strength can carry. I would like you to develop more on that particular area. Make sure if it's project management is broad as well. You understand? Project management is broad. If you look at in an industrial environment, yes, we have some industrial environment where they carry out projects every time. You understand? And there are some industrial environment where they don't carry out projects at all. You understand? They have a particular unit that manage projects. You have a particular unit that manage projects, and they are not always engaged. So I don't really, when you are in the manufacturing sector, I always advise that you must have worked on in the factory. You must have been a production manager, a maintenance manager, a maintenance engineer, or production engineer, or all of that before you say you want to delve into project management. You understand? Because by that you will have understood the whole system, how the whole system works, and if they are proposing an expansion project or a modification to the existing system, you understand very well. Then you can leverage on your knowledge, as a production manager, a production engineer, or maintenance engineer to manage such projects. You understand? So what I would just advise to you to do is that particular area of industrial engineering that you feel that your strength can carry, or you feel like you have so much skill and so much interest, bank on that particular environment, that particular section. Maintenance management, it could be production management, it could be manufacturing, it could be anything. But the first thing means that you still now need to narrow down I also want to add this. At the beginning of your career, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years after graduation, you have several options depending on the opportunities that are available to you. But the moment you get into a particular section, and maybe you develop interest or stuff like that, you can now go in that route. You understand? So for the second question as well, I always for the you said you want to switch in career from finance to engineering. The thing is, I see a lot of people complain about this, but I always advise them within the first 3 years of graduation, you still have that opportunities to switch career. But after the first 2-3 years, you cannot land yourself an engineering job. Whatever you land yourself, I will advise you to sit down and plan, because you can, after 3 years or 4 years, you cannot start doing a graduate training job. If age is not on your side, but if age is on your side, you can still tailor your CV over one way or the other. Try to get engineering training. Just keep up with your engineering knowledge, even though you are working in the finance sector. Like me now, when I graduated, I served in the HR. Though they wanted to retain me in the HR, but I insisted that I didn't set out to become an HR personnel. Let me just, because I still had the opportunity to switch. That was why I left the HR work to, continue with my engineering training. But the thing is, if you can see that even some of us that we have pure engineering background, we are delving into management now. Understand? At the later stage of our career. The thing is, you still need the knowledge, but you need the knowledge of finance, economics, and all of them at the later stage in your career. But if within the first 2-3 years of your graduation, you cannot land an engineering job, whatever you get, if age is not on your side, I would advise you to sit down and replan and make use of that opportunity.
So the next person I'm going to unmute, I'm going to speak more to that switch question later on when we get into the roundtable. But just so that we move on. But thank you so much. That was great answers. And these are people telling you answering you from their experience. So I'm going to unmute Zainab. And then the next person is Adamu after Zainab.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Zainab.
So, I just graduated from University of Ilorin and I studied materials and metallurgical engineering.
Yep.
And I studied materials and metallurgical engineering.
Okay.
I'm currently 7. I'm 7 in Unilag, by the way, working as a graduate assistant. So I'm really interested in manufacturing. That's the hardware, manufacturing, machine, and all those things. I want to go further to study advanced manufacturing and additive manufacturing, all those things together. But I have 2 issues. Number one, you spoke of getting training. And as you said before too, I've tried checking and there's no place to gain experience in terms of training in this aspect. All you see software. And I'm a little bit concerned because I graduated with a 2-2. So you don't see so much opportunities open to you out there because of your grade of degree. And I have my list of companies I would like to work in. That's if I don't go to do my master's here. So all I'm trying to say is, how do I navigate being that I am interested in manufacturing and we don't have the facilities for it here in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you.
I've started taking courses too.
Yeah.
I've started taking courses too. Hopefully it will help me further.
Okay, thank you, Zainab. We'll answer you. So Adamu, let's just take you, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you very much, and good evening to Mr. Diwali. Thanks for all the guidelines and all the talks so far. Please, I want to ask the question. In the instance where somebody, for instance, like me now, I'm so passionate about being a power sector engineer. working in the power sector. And I can tell you that I have so much experience in power sector, like both practical and skills. And I'm actually finding it difficult to actually get one of those companies to work in, so I'll get the proper orientation, and then I can now start my career in those power sector. So I would like you to like give advice. What would somebody do in such cases? This is what you actually want to become, but it's not actually easy to get into those companies. And again, please, it has been said that whenever one wants to do somebody wants to do, like, it's good to have a mentor or someone that will be giving you guidelines. In the case of Nigeria, it's actually very, very difficult. Please, I would like you to, if you can help me out, I would like to get a mentor that will actually be putting me through in my my career path, like power sector also. And again, another thing is I would like you people to like keep this up so that the engineers that are coming up can actually be motivated towards their career, because most of engineers, graduate engineers now, almost everybody is losing hope that there's no hope in this Nigeria anymore. Someone will tell you that studying engineering is just a waste of time. So I think if this program can continue so that people can get aware, you understand, and then give them that motivation that, okay, this and that, I think it will be better for it. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Adamu. Sir, please, can you quickly answer in 2 minutes? I feel like a lot of the questions also that he has asked, some of it will also be covered in the roundtable, but can you answer the 2 questions like in 2 minutes so that we can go to our next speaker?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. For the first question, yeah, in fact, you have, I think you are seeing into the future of manufacturing, which is additives and other manufacturing methods. The first thing is that, like I said, we have little manufacturing and production activities happening in Nigeria. And since it's your dream, I will advise you that you keep it up and try and do some personal research. The thing is, do some kind of personal research and continue to develop yourself in that area. Look at schools. Maybe you can start looking for international opportunities. And if you can't find some companies in Nigeria that can assist, I know that there are some companies in Nigeria that are into additive manufacturing, but they are not many. They are being supported from overseas. You understand? But to get into such companies is very, 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 very hard. But the first thing it means that that's the future of manufacturing. What you just said now is the future of manufacturing. So you need to keep up with that dream and start looking for international opportunities. If you can just put up very good personal statements and statement of purpose, you can get some fully funded master's degree, master's scholarships on that particular area. But just keep that dream, keep it alive. You understand? For the guy in the power sector, I will advise that yes, one of the strategies I used, during my time was to leverage on YouTube. I leverage on YouTube and Google so much because through this you can acquire so much skills and knowledge. You understand? The first thing is that yes, we have a lot of power sector, we have a lot of power companies, springing up in Nigeria. But if there is a way you can volunteer to gain knowledge, but before you volunteer, you must have, you must have gained some trainings or some, knowledge about the, renewable energy or the power, whatever area of power of area within the power sector that you want to concentrate on. But the thing is that you can also leverage your YouTube videos, have a kind of structured learning. Then look at what online resources that you can use to train yourself, so that even anybody that wants to absorb you, that you have done a lot of background works, or you have already worked on yourself before can be absorbed. But if you need a mentor and you want us to link you up with someone who is already working in that sector, we can actually have a discussion after this online session. Then we can see how we can make such connection. Understand?
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. That is so good. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you so much. Please, can we say thank you to Mr. Dewale? We need to go to our next speaker, but thank you so much. You really answered a lot of questions for us. So we're going to be coming back to you in the round table, but I just want to give us the opportunity so that we don't overflow. So for everyone still raising up their hands, please, can you just say thank you to Mr. Adewale, Engineer Adewale Adeniyi in the chat, please? Please, can you say thank you to him in the chat? He's really shared a lot of things there that I thought was very useful. For everyone still raising their hands, don't worry, when we get into the general Q&A, you're going to get the opportunity to actually ask your question, but we need to move on now to our second speaker of the day, and I know she's here. So please just get set as I read our profile. I'm just going to look for her in the chat, and then, yeah, I'm going to bring her up shortly. So her name is Ian, and I'm going to bring her up. So Ian Idienumar is an oil and gas professional with over 13 years industry experience. She started off her career with Schlumberger Oilfield Services. Currently, she's the business development lead for the testing and subsea products service line in Halliburton Energy Services, Nigeria. Ian is passionate about self-development and mentoring young engineers in harnessing their potential. And this has also led her to create a project called iIntern, which was a defined program path resources for interns. All right, please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me today, Ian. I'm just going to make her, trying to bring her up now. I think we can see her. Great, yeah. Hi, thank you so much for making it once again. It's so great to have you here. I'm sure they are all set and pumped and ready to hear from you. So I'm just going to leave the stage now and let you go on. Are you able to share your own slide from your hand?
Okay, let me share.
You want to try that? Yes.
Let me try to share from here.
Yeah. So while she tries to share a slide, I just recommend that if you have your phone or something you can type, or a pen, because Mr. Adewale said a whole lot. And so sometimes you just need to write these things down so that you don't forget, even though we're going to send you the recording after this event, but just ensure that you are able to just write. Okay, so ensure that you are able to write. That's really very important. Okay.
I don't know if you can see my slide.
Yeah, we can see it now. Yes, we can see it. So yes, feel free to share from your hand.
Okay, so you want me to go ahead? Can I?
Yes, please, you can go ahead. I muted myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Tolu. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. It is so nice to be in the midst of fellow engineers. And like you can see my slide, it's taking us way back for those of us that have graduated for quite some time. You know, I love maths, and I remember then I used to be yapped, you know, by my sisters that I'm studying maths because it's, I think among the subjects, my favorite was still, you know, the mathematics part. And just like the first speaker said, Mr. Adewale, I'll just say a bit about my own career path. Since I'm going to be talking about navigating career paths, I know some of the things that I am going to say or that has been said are things that we know, but I just hope that this session, you know, will find one or two things useful that will be useful in, you know, navigating your own career path. And that's the reason why I'm just going to be talking about my own, a summary of my own progression and my own story, hoping, you know, maybe it can answer some of the questions that have not been asked. So I studied, though I ended up being a testing and subsea engineer, I studied computer engineering. So I think that alone might even answer some people's questions as how do I focus on the engineering I studied, because we are going to probably be looking at some of that. So I studied computer engineering in University of Benin. And after graduating, I got a job with Schlumberger as a field engineer trainee in drill stem testing, tubing coverage perforation, well testing engineering, well testing basically. And then from there, I navigated to still in the same company to testing and subsea, basically subsea additionally to drill stem testing. So that has been my career path, basically. So I've had the opportunity of working in Nigeria, working internationally, and along the line, I'll share some tips that, you know, and that I have acquired and some things that have helped me in navigating that path. And like I said, I'm saying that because I know some of us have studied some, you know, particular engineering that we have studied, and we're like, how do I navigate? When I graduated and I wanted to get a job, my mindset was, okay, I wanted to do something computer engineering related, something IT related in the oil and gas industry. So even when the opportunity came and they were going to put people into product service lines, I think I wanted to be in IT, information technology. But today, I can tell you that thank God I wasn't put there. Now it might be for somebody else, not for me, because now I'm seeing the bigger picture from another level. And I'm seeing that that part would probably have been boring for me. I'm still doing engineering, but I've been trained in another engineering that I think has actually brought out the best in my own potentials based on my own personality. So sometimes, you never know as the opportunities come. So I'll be talking about some of those things as we move on. Is there IT session? Yes, there is. Was I giving that? No. I passed through the assessment and all, but seeing potential, seeing some decisions were made as to what product line will this person fit into, and thank God that those decisions were actually made. So I'm going to briefly talk. So I said I was going to talk about my story, and that's basically talking about navigating the job market. That again is some lines for somebody that is probably listening to me and saying, maybe I studied civil engineering and the company I want to work, they want to take me, but they're not putting me in the civil part. And that's why I'm about rejecting that offer. You can even still navigate even within that if you must do civil engineering. So I'm already beginning to speak about navigating the job market and making the best of your career. At this level, you might not be seeing the totality of the entire picture. You might just be seeing it in your own small box, your own small mind from your own school, what you have studied in engineering, and there's more to it. In the next 10 years, is that still how you would have still wanted to navigate? So I'm just going to go from there. And so we're going to look at the objectives, the engineering opportunities that are available and at hand today. The work environment of today, it's changing. You'll agree with me that pre-COVID, post-COVID, things have changed. People want to say, let us go back to normal. And I ask people, what is normal? Things are changing. And we need to realize that things are changing and we need to move as things are changing. New things, systems are being put in place to accommodate what is changing. So we have to be up to date so that we remain relevant in the society of today. So we're going to look at positioning, handling frustrations, because we don't just want to be one-sided. Again, like I said, I know for some people, everything that we're going to say or has been said, I have heard it. I have done all. My CV, your CV might even be, better than the credentials that I had when I started, or even, the speakers and the organizers had. And probably you've even done better in interviews. We're not there to see how you've done. And, it doesn't seem like it's working. So we're not just going to look at it from one side that, put all the, dot the I's, cross the T's and be ready and be this. We know that sometimes, you've done all and it just doesn't work. So what do you do at that time? So we will look at that. We'll look at building depth, because we're not just looking at today. The organizer talked about the engineer of the future, So we're going to look, how are you relevant even if you get the job today? How do you remain relevant in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years? Because let me tell you, it's okay to get a job today and you're happy. In the next 3-4 years, are you still just going to, what you are building on, can it take you as an engineer that is still standing out in the industry in the next 3-4 years? So it's even beyond now. And then we're going to look at moving forward. Life is not static, it's progressive. And so there has to be, what we call continuous improvement so that you're relevant. So getting the job and remaining relevant. So the objectives basically at the end of this is that we should be able to know that there are opportunities. I know that we've been made to believe, which apparently is obvious, that the opportunities are limited. I understand. We understand, we know that, but there are opportunities. And in the engineering profession, and then we look at what are some of the skills that we need today to help us as an engineer of the future. And the future is now. I remember in secondary school, when we're about leaving secondary school then, they will tell us, as you are in SS3, as you are going into the real world, that's the future. In university, as you are going into the real world. And so then you wonder, this real world, when will we go into the real world? And this real world keeps changing, because even 5 years down the line in your career, 10 years down the line, everything is changing. You see that you begin to, the more we live, the more we learn. So the future is now. That's what we need to realize. The future is today, and it keeps evolving. So we're going to look at how we can get the skills that we need as the engineers for today. What was relevant in my time, when I graduated, if I tell you only those same things today now, it's not going to be relevant to you. So things have changed. We need to look at what has changed. How can we be relevant? I know that Mr. Adewale talked about how engineering is diversifying the more. There's the breaking down, there's the expanding. I remember then it used to be electrical, electronics, and computer engineering then. In Uniben at the onset, after a while, computer engineering began to gain more ground on its own, and if you begin to look at it today, you see that even in advanced countries, we're beginning to have software engineers, IT engineers, network engineers. So it's being specialized the more as, knowledge, it's widening and it's opening. So what do we need as at today? So if I won't dwell here, but you would see that Mr. Adewale that spoke earlier had talked about the engineering opportunities for today, everywhere, every sector. Is it in the manufacturing, the food, even in government? Because when you put people that shouldn't be in positions, they don't understand why you are saying some things need to be done. They don't understand the specifics. So any way becomes a way because you don't have professionals in places that they should be in. So even in government, engineers are needed there. So when some critical decisions are being made, somebody can, sorry, somebody's speaking? Can you hear me clearly? So that, and is my slide moving?
We can hear you. I think it's just somebody mistakenly unmuted. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to be sure. So feel free. My slides are not moving. If you cannot hear me clearly, please feel free to stop me. So you can see from engineering, construction to oil and gas to the medical line, as medicine is improving, you have engineers behind the scene. So the opportunities are there. I know people are beginning to say a lot of things are becoming mechanized, automatic, and so you're not really needing too many human beings to operate them. But it's not like the human beings have become totally irrelevant. It's that there's a shift. Instead of us sitting down, I can liken it to something very basic. Instead of the human being sitting to control traffic, as it were, I know we still see that, still sometimes in Nigeria, saying come and go and all, we have traffic lights, but there are people operating, the switching logic and all, making sure that it's operating. So people have taken advanced roles, more useful roles. It's not as if people have become irrelevant. So if we look at it from that perspective, it will actually encourage us that these opportunities are there, and we can actually navigate them. Some of them may not be obvious. Some of them we may need to create, but they are still there. Again, maybe because of the society that we're in, where a lot of these things is taking some time from the developed countries to come here, but these opportunities are there. I'll just move quickly to today's environment. Like I talked about it being technology oriented, you find out that everything now is technology is involved in everything, in every sector. And that takes me back to the first slide when I said engineering is very wide. So you're still very useful today. Like Tolu said at the beginning, you can't say they gave me engineering. As an engineer, you actually chose it. Fine, maybe the particular course, sometimes in some schools, maybe if a course is filled up, you might be offered, would you want to do this engineering instead? But you chose to be an engineer. So things are changing to this work environment. You find out that generation demographics as well, the world is changing. The way people were doing things then is different from the way they are doing now. So if we're going to be relevant in today's work environment, one of the first things we need to know that everything is technology oriented. So you cannot say, I want to keep living in, Renaissance age. You need to use technology, you need to be aware of what's going on. But generation demographics, like I said, sometimes in the work environment, you go for interviews, don't expect people to see things the way you see it. Because some people have, had doors shut on them because they were maybe perceived as maybe rude, lousy, and because a particular generation does not understand why is this person talking like this or behaving like this or why was I being addressed like this, or even in the workplace. So it will take us understanding, the different peculiarities of the generations to be able to relate with people and to be able to manage people. And for us, even as individuals, to be able to know how we comport ourselves so that we are not irrelevant or, don't piss people off in the work environment. We need to be open to this. Environment also has open opportunities because it's wide. Like I said, you have, I said I'm a computer engineer working in the oil and gas. So you have different engineers in different engineering fields that were not their major. So there are open opportunities for engineers. I have a friend that did civil engineering, we graduated together, and today he's the one that has more or less moved into computer engineering part because that's what he wanted to do right from school days, but he ended up studying civil engineering. So if one of us go for an interview today, they will, even if they look at my secretary and they look at him, he has the experience, he'll be the one speaking that language. Me, I will be speaking the oil and gas language. And so that's his part. So there are open opportunities as an engineer that you can actually diversify into because the background, the basics are there. Those principles have not changed. We're only building and expanding on those principles. If we go back to, how we moved from, if I just use maybe automobiles, maybe from cars to planes to ships, from land to the air to the water, the basic principles of motion have not changed. Newton's laws hasn't still changed, but those things are being developed, and so once you have that background, you will be able to be trained and fit into the diversified, engineering industries. So today's industry is also dynamic and competitive, like I said. So if you have somebody that did not study petroleum engineering going for an exam with you, as like me, a computer engineer, I'm being given the same opportunity because I'm going to be trained in that area. So it means it's dynamic, it means it's competitive. As long as the foundation is there as an engineer and it is solid, then the opportunities are there for you to be able to build on, to be able to diversify. Because like I said, the principles, the basic principles, they haven't changed. So that makes it competitive. So we're looking at positioning yourself very quickly. So you need to have the right technical skills and appropriate soft skills. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to major on, try to identify what your strengths and weaknesses are in both areas. I know in Nigeria today, people talk about the educational sector that needs revamping. So I'm not going to blame some things on the individuals, but whatever the gaps are, oh, we did not have this particular lab, so it was theory, when you finish, look for, where you can do, if it's volunteering, internship, so that you can bridge that gap and you can be able to learn while you wait if you don't get a job immediately. So be able to defend your certificate. There are some people that in school, maybe they had people write all their exams for them and they say, we're not getting the jobs. Even if my uncle's uncle gives you that job, how are you going to build on it after 1 year? So it becomes a problem. So you need to have technical skills. You need to have the right soft skills. And if whatever to yourself be true, we know the areas that we need to develop. If I know that my own area is communication, presentation, I cannot present. It may be time because those days, maybe they come for interview and they just have a talk with you. These days they say PowerPoint, everybody's using PowerPoint. So you might need to know how to use PowerPoint. How do I put my presentation together? So you need to be able to build that as well. So communication, if you know that, oh, my grammar is not so good, again, like I said to yourself, be true, identify what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, go back to those things personally and go to the basics and learn them. I had to learn a language when I was on an international assignment because I discovered that I needed to learn that language. So I had to learn it. So don't see it as, oh, I'm going back to buy books that people used in secondary school and primary school. It might not be looking very relevant for you today, but even when you get the job and people are beginning to, you won't be at the back operating the tools forever. That's what the first speaker said. You're going to move to finance, operations, CEO level, where you're managing operations, managing the finance, and those things will come into play. When the selection becomes, so this is even the time to identify those weaknesses, bridge those gaps, and begin to put yourself together. I know that, oh, my grammar, and nobody's blaming, the foundation. We understand the system, begin to work on it yourself. That's where I'm coming from. Diversify your skill set so that you can leverage on the opportunities that are coming. Internship, volunteers. Sometimes the internships are not there. You might need to volunteer. Ask somebody, can I work for free? Oftentimes, I've heard where somebody will say, but in this organization, we don't want people to work for free. We will feel bad. So sometimes they now say, okay, well, yeah, let's let the person, but we'll give the person something small. Sometimes they don't even open the doors because for integrity's sake, they know they can't keep somebody there for free, but at least volunteer. Then mentorship, building. Again, first week I talked about mentorship. It's very key. I can tell you at every stage in my career, I've had a mentor. Even from the beginning of my career, the first thing I was given was a mentor. And I can say that mentor himself and his family, they were God sent to me, and at every phase that they'll talk to me, it's not like this is what you need for your next path, this is what you need, this is what you need to do, so that I could improve, so that I can develop. Also, grooming is necessary when you're positioning yourself. You're going for an interview. You might need to speak to somebody that is aware of the organization that you are going to. Permit me to use the word due diligence so that you don't just go as a novice. You know, before I even did my first interview, I had to speak to somebody that knew about, there's nothing wrong in speaking to somebody that's already in that organization so that you can understand the organization. As a matter of fact, recruiters appreciate that. So when you're speaking in line with the vision and the mission of the company. It shows that you are interested. It shows that you are a reader. It shows that you are involved. So they want to hear, you know, oh, I had to place some course. I had to go to the internet. I was in one of the recruitment sessions, one of the last ones that we did before COVID, and the lady was like, oh, I heard the MD. So she told me about the MD, and she mentioned his name. And that caught my attention. Like, oh, so you even know our MD's name, that you heard he was, maybe I've forgotten what she said he was doing somewhere, but that was an icebreaker. And so when the MD came to give like his speech, somebody said, but somebody already knows you. She doesn't know him, but we already like, she already knows you. That girl was actually recruited. So know about the place. Grooming, do rehearsals. Rehearse before somebody. That's only when you know if as you are speaking, you're saying and the person says, oh, yeah, what's all this you're saying? Be like, oh, I didn't know, or what is all this moving of ice you have been doing? So you see that they can bring out those bad habits for you. If you don't have anybody to rehearse, so then rehearse with your phone. Thank God there's video now. And then you can look at yourself and tell yourself, if I'm the one somebody speaking to like this, will I recruit myself? So those are some basic things that we can do. Building character and integrity. I'm just going to move very fast here. Build character, integrity, trust, attitude. Character is everything. A good name, and if you don't take anything from here, I want you to take that. A good name is everything. And when you're getting a mentor, make sure you get a mentor that has integrity. Permit me to use the word a godly mentor. Because sometimes some will tell you I cut corners to get there. Even if maybe that person escaped it too, but you cut corners to get in. Are you going to get cut corners to become the CEO of that company? When it becomes very competitive inside. So integrity is everything. Oh, they needed to cut age to get in. Forget about it. If it's going to take away your integrity, because 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, when they want to make CEO and you've gotten to the peak where you should be the choice person, somebody just brings it up as a joker and say, but this is not his age. We were in the same primary school together, you know, and then you just wonder. And at that point, where you're supposed to enjoy the labor of years, maybe you were a field engineer or something, you're supposed to come out as an operation manager. They just flush it down the toilet. So integrity and trust is very key. Attitude. You don't know where your matter will be discussed. You know, good legacies. When you're doing these internships and volunteers, leave good legacies. Sometimes some people have become, you know, discouraged, and it had made them, you know, disgruntled. Oh, how much are they paying me? Have been, you know, looking for a job for many years. Don't let the situation give you a name that you are not. Don't let the situation transform your character. It's better you say, I can't even continue this internship. So you go home and you put yourself together, then allow the situation to change who you are. So like we mentioned that before, research the company, research the recruiter, find out what you know about the recruiter if it's possible. You know, maybe the recruiter likes music, and that's probably maybe in your CV, and say, hobby, I play some. I was asked in my first interview among my hobbies, I like to sing. They told me to sing a song, and I was there singing, thanks, I give you thanks. And they're like, is this what you'll be doing on the rig when there is a problem? You know, I mean, I was there. And that was the icebreaker. She sing. At least you didn't tell me. So I can sing. And I sang and I got the job. And here I am today. What am I saying? Find out what you have in common with the recruiter. Because recruiter like to play keyboard and dress, and that's in your CV. And you too, you play keyboard. And as they're looking at it, because people look at common grounds, it's natural. I'm looking at your CV, I'm like, oh, I love to play keyboard. Don't put what you cannot do. Let me be very clear, because sometimes we put, I can solve blog reading very well. I know I shared that with you, and somebody actually warned me that there was a particular recruitment. They told somebody all the things on the CV, because sometimes recruiters, depending on, they say, oh yeah, go to the board. They tell you to go to the board for one formula that you did since whatever. Formula that is basic in necessary, you find that you've just forgotten about it under pressure. Go and deduce some almighty formula that you like, because you put it on your CV there, you got the best in one almighty formula debate. Nobody's asking you for that. And that takes me to the last point. Listen and respond. Don't answer what they did not ask you. Some people have shut doors because they gave answers to questions they were not asked. The recruiter was never going to go in that direction, but you went in that direction. The recruiter kept digging in, and you could not come out of it. So whatever you're not asked, do not answer. It's not even important to the recruiter. And that's why I said listen and respond. It's not just a phrase. It's not respond before listening. You need to listen. Whatever they did not ask you. And then for some, why it's good to find out about the recruiter before I move to the next slide. I remember one of the interviews I did at the time, you know, in the research, and I was just so that person you're going to meet is not a Nigerian, and he's very detailed. So if he asks you A, answer the A very well. Don't answer A and say, do you need any more information? because that's what's going to be, getting him upset. So when I went, if he asks me A, before you know it, I'm in D. Oh, it's enough. By the time he asks me B, before you know it, I'm in H. Oh, it's enough. And then I asked him, what were you looking for in the right candidate? He mentioned, I said, what do you think? He said, yes, you've gotten the job, and that was it. So it's not every time you need to talk too much. It's two ways. If you really don't know, it's better to be reserved. But if you know the personality of the recruiter, it helps you to know how to answer. And when you don't know the answers to questions, just ask for, please, can I take the next question and I will come back to this. It's allowed. The recruiter may never come back to that question, but it gives you time to think. Now, for you to just begin to beat around the bush and they're in their mind, they've just marked wrong at that point. But if you tell them I'll come back to it, they know that you're coming back to it. Before you know it, they may not even come back to it. So that's how to take some of those things. Let your resume be correct. There should be no grammatical error in your resume. Nobody wants to see that. So read it through. If somebody needs to read it through for you, they should read it through. And if you know you need to even build up, grammatically, you can touch up there. I'm gradually, trying to move so that I round up. Then after you've done all these things and nothing is working, because sometimes it happens. So we need to be true. One of the first things I'll say is believe in your ability to succeed. So first of all, you have to believe in yourself. Otherwise, you just keep staying down. When you don't encourage yourself, it's difficult to make the best out of life. So you need to believe in your ability to succeed. And you need to see it from a different perspective. Maybe the time is going so that I can prepare better, because I realized that, it took me a bit of time before I was called for the interview of the job I really wanted. But I realized that why it took me time was because if I was called 6 months earlier, I wouldn't have been taken for that job. I needed the time to prepare. It was later I realized when many of my classmates had gone and had failed, then I realized that, oh, this is why I did not go early. I needed time. So you need to see it from a different perspective. Could it be that maybe there are better doors for me, and maybe God has a better door for me, and that's why this one is not working? So if you look at the brighter side of it, I would say look at the brighter side of it. If you look at the brighter side of it, you encourage yourself and you're able to move on and you're able to move forward. I have some places that I applied to and they did not continue with my application. Today, they were multinationals. I'm grateful that they did not, because I would have been on the wrong path and I would have never had time for the organization that has even taken me now. So you need to encourage yourself. You need to, if there's a bright side to that frustration, you need to look at the bright side and, move on and move forward. Make the best out of little beginnings. It's your beginning small, appreciate it today. Because if you don't make the best out of little beginnings, you end up, letting the attitude show. So even if it's an internship, if it's an NGO volunteer, the people cannot even see that you are so good. So when the door is about to open, they cannot mention your name. There are some people like that, when it's time to move from maybe contract staff to permanent staff. So people are like, is it this person you want to staff? And in my mind, I'm like, no, this person is not like that. What has happened is the person over time has become discouraged. But what I always tell people, instead of you to allow the situation to give you a bad name, it's better to say, I want to leave. So you live on a high note. You live with a good name so they can call you. And for you to allow the situation, it must never change your attitude. Keep developing, keep trying again. In the course of preparing for this, I was discussing with a friend, she's a work colleague, and she was like, the interview that they called her for that made her join the company, she had been applying before them with somebody. The guy did not apply. The guy that had been applying with her didn't apply for that particular one that they had refused to call them. And that was the one they called them for. And now she has been working in that company till, up till now. So you never can tell when the window will be opened. When I was called eventually, it was for a recruitment for all girls. Maybe they had, a quota to meet for girls. And so they called all girls to be able to pick the best. And then I was called. So that quota made it open for women to be called. So you never can tell. So keep applying, and leverage on lessons learned. Sometimes the failures are so that you can prepare for the main opportunity. They are like examples. That's why I'm trying to handle, when the frustrations come, let's leverage on those things. Let's pick the lessons learned and be like, well, maybe that was not for me, or maybe I needed to try again, or maybe, that was just an example to prepare for the main door. I'm just trying to encourage us on how to, not to just sit, in frustration and depression. Okay, so I'm rounding, building debt. Like I said, if you look at the building beside me, there was a day, I was driving to work, with somebody, and as she was driving, there was this building. It was all around it was, fence with a temporary fence, and they had been walking there. And the person that was driving with me said, this building is like a massive building is going to come from here, because we have not seen anything at surface, but workers have been there working. What does that mean? They were building debt. They were going down so that they could go up. So sometimes in the time of frustration, the time of waiting, it might be the time that you are building debt. Somebody might have started earlier, but when you start, what you have gathered in, that's your waiting time, that's your learning, that's your volunteering, that's your project management, that's your whatever you have been doing. It may earn you double promotion by the time you start. It may earn you special projects that they are telling you there's a project that needs to be handled. People are saying, who do we give? And your name is coming on point because they know that when you can put things together, there's somebody else that is there. They did not give the person for free. Because when it comes to, when they begin to look at managerial roles, a lot of times it's not by the years spent. When they want to pick the CEO of a company, they look at many things put together. And that's why the first speaker said, as you grow in engineering, finance becomes important. Operation support becomes important. HSC, if it's the oil and gas, becomes, all those things begin to become relevant, not handling, you know, the screwdriver as an engineer. So you need to be open-minded, willing to take up new challenges, continuous improvement, you know, keep developing yourself. The opportunities, like I said, that's why I started with, I'm a computer engineer in the oil and gas industry, a testing and subsea engineer, you know, as at today, and I'm happy for it. I saw things from just my perspective. Thank God that people saw things from another perspective and like, this is the role we're going to give you. And today I can say, I find fulfillment there. Well, I don't know how it would have been in the other one, but I am happy. So learn the role, ask questions, don't be shallow. It will help you. Ask questions. People have walked that walk before. If you need to read books, if you need to go on the internet, don't use internet for just, you know, social, Instagram and Twitter and all. Use it to build depth. Use it to be different. And then expand your horizon. Professional networking. He spoke, so I will not talk too much on that. Professional bodies, Society of Petroleum Engineers, Korean, Nigerian Society of Engineers. Some of these things are free. Right from school, people were in NSC from the beginning, Nigerian Society of Engineers. And learn the business. So there's the learning the role, and then there's the learning the business. Learning the role is the initial one as an engineer, but you will not be, you know, behind, like we used to say, the rig floor forever. And the closer you are to the rig floor, it means that you're kind of like junior. The further you are, CEO level, where they are playing golf and taking decisions as to what's the next business plan, what new PSL, where are we moving on, you know, when it comes to energy and all. So learn the business as an engineer. Don't say that my own is just screwdriver and spanner. Begin to learn finance. Do I need to begin to take some accounting courses? Do I need to, my master's is in strategic planning, by the way. It's not in engineering, because I'm like, I know I'm growing up the ladder by the grace of God. So I need to be able to strategically align, you know, and be able to plan. In conclusion, I'm just going to be looking at, you know, moving forward. Life is not static, you know, so we need to be able to always be ready to move forward. Set smart goals. If you haven't done that last year, look at, you know, set smart goals for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year, for the next 5, 10 years. I'm not saying we're going to achieve all of them, but at least you have something that you have written as a vision, and then it can guide what you're doing. Sometimes you may need to navigate, you may need to reroute, you may need to switch, but you need to set smart goals. Regular appraisals follows up with that. A year has just ended, this is another quarter. Regular appraisals for yourself, and then feedback as well. In the last year, how did I do if I was searching for a job in my job search? How did I do in my interviews? If we don't do that, we find out that we'll carry the mistakes of last year that should have been lessons learned, and we'll carry those mistakes into this year again because we refuse to see how we fared on all levels. So personally, I still do that. You know, look at the last year, what worked, what did not work, why did it not work, what are the areas I want to develop this year, and then feedback also. Sometimes people keep telling us things, you know, giving us feedback. How do you handle those feedback? Or you're the type that you put people around you that can only tell you what you want to hear. That's where mentorship comes in. Some people are not ready to be mentored. They just say they want a mentor. The mentor gives them assignment. They won't even do it, you know, because they know everything. So how do you handle feedback? You want a mentor, are you ready to be mentored? Because if me, I'm mentoring somebody, I give assignments, for example, and you have to do assignments. It's not by force, but I want to see people, you know, become molded the way I was trained, and also have a learner mindset. You keep learning, whether you are CEO, you need to be able to listen to people, because it might be the youngest person in the block that is telling you what is relevant. You know, people are custodians of maybe processes, and also if you say, I have 10 years experience, this person has 2 years, but that's the person that is a custodian of a particular process and is seeing what is changing. And that's what I keep telling, you know, some people in my team. So if you don't listen to this person, you won't know what has changed. And if you keep saying, I know, when somebody is telling you, tomorrow the person will not tell you, because the person will say, before she will say she knows. So even when you know, I learned that when I was small, you know, my mom taught me, don't say I know, stop saying I know, you know, so I'll say, okay, I've heard, you know, so I don't switch off people, because if I say I know the first time, the second time, third time, the person's probably switched off, you know, because I know. So lastly, learn to unlearn. There's some things we need to unlearn. There are some habits we need to unlearn. There are some things we've held on to. Don't forget, we talked about changing generations, that we need to unlearn from the past, that we need to put those things behind us so that we can leave them alone and we can reach out to the things that are in front. Thank you very much, Tolu. I just hope, I've been able to communicate and that it's useful.
Thank you so much, man. That was such a great session. That was such a great session. I'm just trying to get you to stop sharing, sir. And then, yes, that was such a great session. Thank you so much. I don't know how you guys felt, but I really felt that from my own hand here. So yes, I can see a lot of people just making comments while you were speaking. She spoke a lot and she spoke from the heart. And I think that's really very important because sometimes there's a whole lot of reason why things are not going on. And she really spoke to us about how we can make the best of whatever situation we find ourselves, how to position yourself. And she also told you she has been in recruitment exercise. And I think that's really great because it's good for us to hear from people on the other side of the fence, even when the jobs are available. What do they see and what do they expect? There was a whole lot of lessons there. She talked about finding common ground, doing research. She also talked about something that was really very key to my heart, which is handling frustrations. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me as engineers saying that, like Adam, I think it was Adamu that was saying it the other time, people saying they're really frustrated, they've studied this engineering course and all of that, but she just spoke to us about how to persevere and how to go on. Thank you so much, Ma. That was really brilliant. That was really useful. And I know that, there may be lots and lots and lots of questions. So I want to say thank you for all of you still staying here. We are going to go to the roundtable very soon. We have another speaker that we're going to bring on board because we want to hear these people share their experience and give from their well of wisdom. They've been able to work across different brands. When you put together their experience, we're talking about 50 years worth of experience in this room tonight, this evening. So it's so great that I know that, when we begin to hear from them, we begin to hear the wisdom that they are sharing. So our last speaker, who is going to be coming on our panel, but I just wanted to introduce him and read his profile for us. So he's Mr. Falari Adegbesor, Engineer Falari Adegbesor. He's versatile in various aspects of maintenance and project engineering management. He studied mechanical engineering with specialization in thermal and fluid systems, and is affiliated with the professional institutes such as PMI, ASHRAE, and CORED. His interests include environmental sustainability, engineering, and utilities management and people development. And I know he's also the utility manager for Cadbury. I think it's going to tell us that in a moment. I need to confirm that when it comes up. So just be ready. I'm going to put the four of us on the screen. And I know there are lots and lots of questions. So I'm going to good evening, Engineer Falari. You're welcome. Can you hear us? Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Hello to everyone. I can hear
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. So yes, you're welcome to our roundtable. Also, I'm going to bring back Engineer Adewale. We've heard from him wonderfully today. Sorry, that. Okay, just a minute. Just gonna add everyone back. Yes, and had. Okay. Great. Wow, great. We have everyone. Welcome, Saz and Mas. It's been so great. Thank you for the session so far. I myself have learned a lot. Like you said, we always learn to unlearn. So, I've really learned a lot from even everything everyone has shared here today. And even when I'm going to be recommending things for other people coming my way, that thing you said about engineering value chain, I thought it was really very important, Mr. Engineer Adewale, and also Engineer Ian, you talked about just positioning yourself. And I thought that was really key. And some of these slide excerpts, we're going to be taking them and putting them in the follow-up email we're going to be sending to the participants, because I think it is really important. Guys, if you want to screenshot some part of this when you watch it again, just screenshot it, put it on your phone so that you can really, really, be one with it, read it. Both of them spoke about, okay, both of them spoke about knowing yourself, giving yourself feedback, knowing what you want to do, know what you know and what you don't know. So, but I think somebody is here. Please, can you mute yourself if you're not one of our speakers, please? Thank you. So we're going to go to the roundtable, and there's a whole lot of questions. I've been looking at the chat section, and there are a lot of questions already. And maybe the first question I wanted to ask that I know that there's a lot of people that raised their hands, but please, I think Owenosa raised his hand previously. I can see a whole lot of people talking about questions. There are some questions that have now been answered based on Mrs. Ian's session. So please, if your questions have been answered, don't ask them again. But the first question I'm going to be asking. All right, the first question I'm going to be asking the panel, and I'm going to be wanting them to speak to us about is, maybe I'll want Mr. Falaria just coming up to answer that question for us. The first thing is, how can, when it comes to application, and somebody just finished from universities and all of that, how can they start applying for jobs in Nigeria? Do they just look at newspapers, or do they have to know somebody? What was your experience like, and how can they begin to look for jobs? So that's my first question.
Okay, good evening, everyone, once again, and thank you so much for the speakers. I think it's been a very, very great session. I've learned a couple of things as well. So thank you so much for that very insightful session. Okay, so down to the question, fresh off school, how do you get a job? How do you apply for a job? Okay, so there are a few things that needs to be considered here. Many people already have that belief that, Nigerian universities, okay, I go to school, you're already hopeless by the time you come out, as in you already feel like there's nothing gained, from that experience in school. But that is not a very correct notion, because many times just going through the process itself, not necessarily what you studied, but the process of, studying, writing the exams, going for tests, going through that process, it's building character in you in some ways, and which is going to be very, very important and very useful by the time you get to the job scene, as it were. So how do you come out from school and apply for a job? One thing that is very, very important is your IT placement. And many people in that phase or in that...
You're muted, sir. You're muted, sir. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm back.
Yeah.
All right, so during your IT, it's very, very important for you to take it very seriously. I make an example. I had my IT at the Warri Refinery, and during that period, thankfully I was placed there, and it was an eye-opening experience for me, because while in school, I was just learning the theories, and I didn't really understand how all of these came together, in the industry out there. The first speaker rightly mentioned that many of us, by the time we come out from school, we don't have the right skills, the right qualities required for the industry. But the IT section, I think, is one wonderful thing the government has done so far. It's something to introduce you to the industry. So it's a very, very, very vital part of your learning back in school. It's going to expose you. It's going to show you what goes on in the industry. That was where I got to know for the first time that Nigeria is actually, we can do things. When I saw the refinery work, I saw the scale and the sheer size of that installation. I realized that, okay, so engineering is not a joke. And as such, I started putting my mind to it, started trying to connect what I've learned in school to the industry. So this experience is very important, and it's very key to highlight it on your CV. The second speaker also has mentioned how to build a very good CV. So I don't think I have any more things to add to that. So
all right, yeah. Thank you so much for that answer. And I think that was really great, and that was really interesting first. So the second question I wanted to ask Mr. Adewale, I'm just looking through the chat and I'm just trying to stitch the questions together so that we can just run through them. So in terms of when you come out of uni, sir, Engineer Adewale, does it matter, say you are an electrical engineer, or I know Ian has spoken to that and all of that, and you're really passionate. Somebody said, I'm really passionate about electrical engineering, but what I've gotten is a role in MetaMath. What exactly, I think Ian said, just go and take it and all of that. Is there anything that you would like to add to that? What's the process? Can you talk more about that in terms of, even though you have the base skill, like we said, you are never given engineering, you chose engineering, even though you may not be given the right course, but you chose engineering. Is there anything else that one can do to try and navigate that system? I know you spoke about, the first 3 years in your speech, and that if that 3 years had gone, you need to balance and settle with what you have. Can you just speak a little bit more to that?
Okay, thank you very much. During our own time, I think I made a lot of sacrifices, you understand? Because during my time, I said mechanical engineering or nothing. That was my my own aim. And I would say that I actually paid my dues as well. I paid my dues, and my admission got delayed and I did not graduate on time. So because of those bad experiences, I wouldn't want to, I'm trying as much as possible to, because when I'm giving advice like that, I try to balance it. I will not advise you to follow my own path, because someone like me now, because I said Nigeria, mechanical engineering or nothing, I spent 10 years, getting higher education. Because I had to start all over again. I rejected admission, went for JAMB and stuff like that. But the fact still remains that time is going. I will not, lie to you about that. Time is going. By the time some of us graduated, we have people of our age that are already, having 5 years experience. You understand? So, but the fact still remains that, yes, you wanted mechanical, electrical engineering, and you have not been given. I would say that whatever you are given, start it first. Then you can write another JAMB and you can write another JAMB, then maybe put in for electrical engineering in another school. You understand? But instead of you neglecting that admission and sitting at home, you understand? During my own time, because I couldn't get admission into the university, I had to go to the polytechnic first. You understand? I did mechanical engineering. I was offered physics and electronics in Futa. I said no, I wanted mechanical engineering. So because of that, I went to the polytechnic. But the journey was long. I will not lie to you. The journey was long. But this time now, that time we still had a lot of opportunities we could leverage on. But this time, things are changing rapidly. You understand? But the thing is that you don't need somebody to convince you about the opportunities that are available in the mechanical, material and metallurgical sector. You understand? Just to convince you that, okay, yes, you already had the plan to do electrical and you are already, picturing the future for yourself. But you just need a mentor to now sit down with you and then tell you about the opportunities that are available in the mechanical, in the metallurgical and the material sector. But if you are still not convinced enough, I will ask you to go and get another JAMB, do another exam, then register for maybe see if you can try again. But the first thing means that when you get into the other level, 200 level, you are still going to do the same course with everybody. So you get separated at 300 level. So the first thing is that you can still get some knowledge with the other level study and assess yourself if you still want to go ahead with the mechanic, with the material and metallurgical, or you still want to cross back to electrical engineering. So that's just my advice.
Thank you so much. That was so good. That was so good. And just because it's a metallurgical materials question, that's the only reason why I'm going to weigh in on that. I'm actually a metallurgical materials engineer. And I feel like sometimes for the person asking the question in the chat about metallurgical materials engineering, you need to do your research, all right? So don't just I don't really know about it. Do your research about it, okay? Do your research about it. I'm not saying take it or don't take it, but like you said, time is going. But do your research about it. Find out what is really going on there. And it might just be your, don't play to your assumptions, all right? Find out about your course. And I always tell people, read more. We've been spoken to today about you need to do your own assignment in part of this. It is your life. All right. Your own career is your own business. That's your own business. As a student and as a graduate, is your business. So for metallurgical materials engineering, I'm just putting it out there. There are a whole lot of opportunities and there is really nothing to stop you. All right. So, and also there are also multidisciplinary thing, they've talked about it today, whereby at one point you're working across sectors and you're working at different things. So when you see opportunities, take them, but please do your research before you reject a course or anything like that. Do your research. Use data, go on YouTube and all of those and find out, a whole lot of more. Personally, I wanted electrical engineering. All right. In fact, I told one of my friends, it still teases me to tomorrow. I said, if I don't get electrical engineering, I won't come to this school. All right. But anyway, I didn't get electrical engineering and I got metallurgical materials engineering. And to be honest, I am so happy that that's what I got. All right. I'm so happy. I have been able to build a career on it. I am still building a career on it. All right. So just giving you an example right there for that person. It's one of the things that makes me happy. In fact, I later found out that it was the best course for me. It was the right balance of engineering and chemistry. All right. So those were my strengths. So I found out that it was like the best mix for me. I'm an engineer and also a scientist. So it's like a very good mix for me. So please don't just discard something based on your assumptions, like you said. Research into it and before you actually discard any opportunities. So let's go on. There's so much questions. On Wednesday, I'll give you the opportunity to unmute and ask your question, and Mrs. Ian will answer, please. On Wednesday, are you there?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
My question is related to professional bodies. During Mrs. Ian's presentation, she made mention of identifying with professional bodies. She mentioned Korean, NC, and whatnot. The issue is that for students who are still in school, because I'm still an engineering student studying, NC and Korean seem to be organizations based only for graduates. And the ones that we have, like the student bodies that we have, the organizations that we have, like UESA, don't seem to like have enough opportunities for us to like network and meet people in various fields. And I was hoping to ask if there are any organizations that we can also join to be able to network and meet those kind of people.
Okay, thank you. Ma?
Okay, so just to answer your question, I know Nigerian Society of Engineers, they used to have a student chapter, right? But I think we need to check that, see if that has changed. But I think they used to have some of the other engineers on this call, that studied in Nigeria. I think we can check that. But they used to have a Nigerian chapter for students.
Yeah, they still do.
So they still do, right? Okay, so they have that. So you need to look for the student chapter for that.
She said that they don't have opportunities. So she acknowledged that they still exist, but that they don't have opportunities for them.
Opportunities to network or what?
Yes, exactly, that's what she was saying.
Okay, so I think going back to that, it's not going to be an improvement from like the top and people that actually run those bodies, because those bodies are actually supposed to be support system for upcoming engineers so that they can network and they can see people to look up to, as seniors within that sector. So that's actually something that should be like an improvement there, because I know that even the likes of SPs and the rest, when they do programs, they invite students as well so that they can come and see what is going on. So I think I'll even channel that back to Tolu, because I know Tolu is very involved with,
okay. All right.
Tolu is very involved with those bodies. And it might be a feedback that what are some things we can do to begin to improve as to the original objectives of those bodies when they were set up, because sometimes we get so busy and we deviate from the objectives of an organization that was set up.
Yes, so that's very correct. I'm going to add to that. So you're very correct. Those organizations that exist, but I think what has happened is it has just become more or less a political organizations for students in school, rather than the actual.
That's why I want to
sorry, please, can you mute that? All right, great. All right, so it has become a political organization for most part of it. But I feel like, there is two things I'm going to say. That if they don't call you to the table, right, you create your own table and you join it to their table. So that's one thing I want to say first. The second thing is somebody says, when the people that have father, when their father is talking to them and you don't have a father, you go to their window and you do what? And you listen. So we can sit here to tomorrow and debate what is supposed to be in Nigeria and not. And we all know that, things are not perfect. But what I would say is, if I were you, in school, I will look for opportunities to see if I can join that National Students Organization. And also this student organization themselves, I know one of Meta, my first in a lady, I think she's the national president. And she took it to another level. She started visiting all schools and all of that. She created what she wanted it to be. All right. So you can take up that opportunity and create it. And people started listening to her. She started visiting the national secretariat. I am the NUESA president of so. And you know, how did I get to see her? Somebody posted it on LinkedIn. You get, so it's the days of just sitting back and waiting is over. You need to find the opportunities. And also when it comes to networking, right, it doesn't have to be within those organizations alone. I was telling Engineer Ian that for 3 years, I think for 2 years, sorry, not 3, 2 years before I did my industrial training defense in my university, I attended the one for mechanical materials department. 2 straight years, I kept attending. All right. Some of the people, like Engineer Adewale here, you know, it was, you know, my senior, and you know, I attended their industrial defense just to see what is going on. So networking is something that you keep doing. As I am like this, I send, just because, you know, you don't want to be impolite, I still send message to people on LinkedIn, female engineers that I feel like they are really doing great. I network myself. I see events, I register. Okay, so there's so many other opportunities that you can do. Sometimes you can find out that NUESA is doing something in Ondo State. Just Google it. Show up there. Oh, I'm a student in 200 level, and I'm here to just listen to what you guys have to say. They will be inspired. In fact, I'll tell you an example of myself. In the United Kingdom where I live, organizations, we have all of these engineering organizations that are well played out. But what is beginning to happen is a lot of the people there are really beginning to get old. All right. So in their committees, they're really beginning to get a bit old. And so a lot of people are dropping off and all of those things. So they're asking for young people, and people are not showing up. And I spotted the opportunities. So, and then I said, okay, they're asking for people. And I just applied, and they took me immediately to this committee, accreditation committee of universities in the UK. And that's how I got there. And then I got there, I found out that, you know, I'm the only Black person, I'm the only female. You're like, okay, then you take your opportunity, you see. So always taking opportunities, always taking. There was this Federation of International Students, International Engineers, as they're saying, Engineering Day. Okay, let me find out more about it. For me, engineering is my business. I read everything about engineering that I find. So I think that's the way you can network rather than getting locked up in just NUESA and all of those kind of things. You can open it up for yourself, all right? Follow people that are engineers on LinkedIn. Engineer Adewale is one to follow on LinkedIn, right? He's always giving out stuff and insight and all of those things. So open up the opportunities for yourself, all right? Open it up for yourself. And also I want to speak to somebody said something about Tutu the other time. Don't let that stop you. As long as you're still interested in this engineering, don't let anything stop you. Just keep reading, ensure that you know what you know, all right? So that's really important. Where there are gaps, fill up the gap. Engineering has talked about that in terms of even speaking English. There are some engineers that their problem is how to communicate to others. So fix all of that, start networking and all of these things. I set aside, in my holiday per year, I set aside 2 days for engineering personal development. Do you see? So I'm always meeting people, meeting opportunities to talk to people. So that's the way you can actually network. So I can go on and on about that tomorrow. But yes, as an organization, as Duality EIA, we'll keep looking at opportunities to liars. We've written to them and all of these bureaucracies. But if we allow that to stop us, we won't be here today. So don't allow it to stop you. Thank you. Joshua, I will unmute you, and then let me see if there's anyone in the chat. Joshua, you're muted. You can ask your question. And then we have time for 2 more after that. Joshua, are you unmuted?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, this session has been quite fruitful and insightful. I must say thank you to the organizers, and I'm happy to be here. I've been joining you guys. This is like the 3rd or 2nd webinar I'm joining, so I'm happy to be here. So I just want to say or ask a question along the line. I studied electrical electronics engineering. So when I graduated, it was hard for me to follow that engineering line because NYC took me to a school where I served and I taught physics in that school. And since then, I've been wondering how to find my foot in the engineering sector. So I got talking with one of my friends that were in touch while in school then. So decided to see how we can further expand our engineering quest. So even while I was still in the education sector, we were still doing our engineering stuff side by side. So at the moment, we got a company registered, and we don't. I don't know. I'm just trying to ask if there's any way we can have organizations that are ready to fund startups if Energy Realities is also in that line, so we can get hooked up and then mentor, and then in the line of renewable energies and IT, because the company will open, what we are into is CCTV camera installation and solar energy design and installation. So I'm partly in education, I'm partly practicing. So I'm looking forward to a year or two from now where I will switch completely to my original passion, which is engineering. So I need link up with organizations that can fund and that can mentor me so that I can realign back to my original passion.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. Yeah, does anyone of the speakers want to speak to that before I speak to that? Do you have any suggestion for Joshua?
Okay, let me respond to that. Thank you, Mr. Joshua. I think you have really made a very good decision to, venture into engineering business. Trying to, set up your enterprise, in the area of CCTV and stuff like that. I can say that you've really done well. But I think I'm not sure if this is within the scope of service of Energy Realities to, fund projects. But I think that when it has to do with mentoring and skill acquisition and and development, we can actually provide advice. You understand? But the thing is that I noticed that one thing Nigerian engineers that we don't do, that probably with the little time I spent in the UK, trying to orientate myself is venturing into engineering business. All of us, we talk about jobs, but these skills that we have acquired, have we even sat down and think about how we can set up a business around the knowledge that we have acquired? Yes, that you have done, and I believe that with the knowledge you have, and also with the little experience you have developed in that area, you can still, develop strategies at which you can expand your business. You understand? The thing is, you start little. Yes, you need funding, but I believe that there are a lot of government agencies that support projects like this. That you can, if you have a very good proposal, like, okay, this is what you are set out to do, and these are your strategies. This is how you have a very good business plan. I believe that you can secure funding. I think we have the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and stuff like that. I don't. If you search, you understand, I believe that you can still get some. There are some programs by that are sponsored by the federal government, the federal ministries that sponsor projects like this. But within the scope of this society that we have now, the main thing is just to provide guidance, mentor, and train and provide advice for people. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Well, thank you so much, Engineer Adewale. That's been really great. I'm going to, I think you're giving a very good answer to actually look for funding and all of those kind of things. I'm going to be talking later on about one of the things we are hoping to do, which is an innovators program for engineer, but that's just still something developing. But I don't think you need to wait. You can, like he said to you, you can just take everything he has said, and I think that's really very helpful. But we are going to be providing mentoring to some level whereby you can at least maybe find somebody with similar passion in the industry you are that can speak to you and help you with that. So
sorry, just to also add to what the first speaker mentioned, I know there are a couple of I would say organizations or some non-profits also out there that are looking out for interests like this. One of it is the Techidia Institute or Foundation. So you can look out for that. It's on LinkedIn. Also this Tony Elumelu Foundation. Okay, so they also are out there to sponsor small businesses. So you can pitch your idea and try to get some funding for it. But again, you can always start small and scale up as the case may be.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yes, let me just go to the next question in the chat. I think that's a great question because I think people always ask this question. So it's going to be to you, Engineer Ian. He said, great session so far. Thank you very much. My question is about the role of engineers on site. I have been made to understand that the actual jobs are being done by technologists, technicians, and engineers merely supervised. This setup looks awkward to me, as I believe most technicians are more experienced and probably know more than engineering graduates from universities because in our school, we don't even get to handle these machines individually. These technicians just do us it in one of the group members. Oh, sorry. Just going to summarize that. Sorry, that's not really clear. But I think what the person is saying is, okay, on site, engineers, the technicians, engineers merely supervise the technicians that really do the job. And I know that there's this dichotomy argument, engineers, they don't really know it and all of that. So please, can you really speak to us about that?
Okay, so like you said, they say engineers, they don't really know it. How can you supervise what you don't know? That's one question that we need to ask ourselves, because then the people there will just use your head to do, and if they know that you don't know, they hold you to ransom.
Yeah.
So, you have to know your job. And that's why that takes us back to when we talk about technicalities. So when we look at the way the setup is, even educational, you have the engineers, you have technicians, you have operators, everybody, they all have their roles to play. And it goes into what they are taught and how they are groomed in schools, whether they have to go to institutes of technologies or engineers. The difference is that, when you do proper engineering, the way the system was set up initially, that there's some level of managerial teaching in there. There's the finance part, because overall, at the end of the day, not at the beginning, at the end of the day, you're seeing that you should be able to overall manage people, manage resources, manage the entire business. But at the beginning of the day, you have to know the job. So I started as a field engineer. I did the jobs that the operators would do with them. I had to make up tools, jump on pipe wrenches, the rain is beating me, I'm on the rig floor and all. Am I doing that today? No. But if I can't supervise a team as a team lead if I don't know what is to be done, because when the chiefs are down, the person they are talking to is me. Why did this happen? And if the guys that you're going with as operators tell you they are not doing this, what do you do? If they know you don't know the job, then they can easily, just make a lot of they can spoil the job because you don't know what they're doing. So there's always the opportunity for an engineer. When you're given that opportunity, you go in, you make sure that you learn the role. That takes us back to learning the role. You will have people that are 50 years, or maybe 50 years is an extreme, maybe 20 years experience, maybe they are operators. Again, I'm going back to the level of some people just enter traditionally based on maybe from secondary school, they don't really have university education. So they enter from that level and they might not need it but they built, experience, expertise over the years by reason of experience. And so the organization understands that. So then you come as an engineer, you've been taught, like I said, as an all-round, manage people, manage resources. You've been taught the basics, the principles of why is it like this? What is changing? Why do we need this measurement? Again, we look at things that are happening. I don't want to take us back to some things that are happening in Nigeria. People are asking, who were the engineers on this project? Did we check this and that? That's why we have engineers. And that's why the engineers need to know what to do. So as an engineer, you come out of school, you need to learn the role. You will learn what the operators are doing. You will learn what the technicians are doing. And overall, you're supposed to have a wide, ability to be able to navigate from there. I know Engineer Adewale said that in the beginning, because you will move to managing the business, but that's at the end. But when you come out and you start up, you are groomed to learn the role and understand it and work with those people, so that you can know what is going on in the business.
Thank you so much, man. That's really very key. Thank you so much. That's really very key. What I want to say, just to add to that, is that sometimes we get this mixed up. Engineers are not technicians, but engineers know the role of the technicians. And the whole game is not for you to be at the granular level for 20 years digging the ground and all of that. No, you know what to do, and you're able to supervise them. So it's not just supervisory. from, like you said, if you don't know what they're doing, how can you supervise them? So don't get it all twisted up in terms of engineering. You will learn the rope and then you will move on to other things. You will have a broader perspective. So, but some people expect that as engineers, for 20, 30 years of their career, they will keep digging, they will keep, no. That's not what engineering is all about, okay? It's engineering providing the solution. So you're a solution provider. Now that includes managing people, telling them how to do it, drawing up the design. For example, I'm not on a manufacturing site every day, but I draw up the design of what they do. That doesn't mean that a technician in the manufacturing industry knows what is doing more than me. No, because I determine the principles of engineering that guide what I'm developing. I do a material selection report, I develop it, and then I give it to the technicians to work on, and they build it. I don't have to build it, but I know every step that they need to do in building it. So I think that that's really key for us to understand as engineers. So I think I'll just allow Moses, and I think that's the last question we're going to be able to take because we've run out of time. But Moses, can you unmute and ask your question? I think you've been waiting since.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you, Engineer Adewale. Thanks, Engineer Yin, and things like that. Okay, yeah. My question first is this. I studied physics electronics. So am I qualified to be called an engineer? And that was one. Though really, I did City and Guilds certification. That was on electrical. But before before my in my NYC days, I did also in teaching really in physics. But when I came out, I studied. I went for automation engineering. And since then, I moved out again to start my own business, really, and in the light of innovation and things like that. So I want to just, first of all, the first question is this. Am I fit to be called an engineer as a physics, electronics? And how can the senior ones that engineers mentor us to have a good innovation? Why? Because just recently, I work on a project, and it's on a wireless communication, which is for looking at the level of water when it's come to when it's low to pump the water, and when it's full, it will up the water. So this my concern. How can we be mentored well to have a good product that will be going into the market also? Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. I'll leave that open for the, I think leave the mentoring part to us at EIA. We answer that, but can you answer, am I an engineer as a physics electronics? What's your perspective about it?
Okay, maybe I go first here. Sorry, there's a feedback coming from someone.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
As
everyone else, can you mute yourself apart from the speaker, please?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, for your question, I think it's a very valid question. For physics electronics, you studied something very similar to instrumentation automation. So it all depends. The question, I throw it back to you. Do you see yourself providing solutions? Do you see yourself as an engineer in that in that realm, in that field? Because it's not just about what you studied. In fact, as a mechanic, if you studied mechanical engineering in school, by the time you come out, I tell people you're not yet an engineer. You have to practice. You have to get certified. To really practice as an engineer. So it's still left open for you. You've done something that is very applicable in several engineering fields. So the question is, how do you want to take it up from there? Yeah, so if you want to tailor it into something that is more grounded, in the engineering field, I give an example: instrumentation, automation. These are areas that you can look out for, and the course you study, physics electronics, will be very, very, very valuable, in those fields. So if you want to become an engineer, let me put it that way, So look at doing something in that line and maybe consolidating your course of study already by taking on some more certification courses and looking out for more information knowledge around this fields of engineering. But yeah, basically you can be an engineer, but yes, you might not want to call yourself yet an engineer, even just by studying physics electronics.
Okay, any other person? I think that was so good. You want to speak, sir?
Let me just little contribution. Going by the definition of the title engineer, definition of let me say, as defined by Kuren and the NSC. They feel like when you don't have engineering as your undergraduate study, you don't qualify to be an engineer. Have that engineer title. Though this is still being debated, at the level of such association, that such society, that the fact that you did not have an engineering, a core engineering undergraduate study does not really mean that you cannot become an engineer. But the way the whole thing is structured right from the onset, Nigeria, when we set something in motion, we don't go back to the root and start, redefine whatever terms we are using. We just go with it. There are a lot of questioning and questioning and a lot of discussion going on around that side. Ensuring that they redefine the terms so that people who don't have engineering background but that delved into engineering and they are successful in that field can still come back and register as an engineer. But as regards your developing innovative concepts, yes, that is one thing I see that is lacking in Nigeria, because we are not innovative. We don't create systems. We have a lot of what we do is just to consume, use foreign products, import, and do. But while we have our own, we can develop our own knowledge, technologies, and create our own systems and make use of these things, to commercial level. Produce them at the commercial level within Nigeria. But if we don't get support, we don't get mentorship, we don't get assistance from the government. And also, like I said, look at the whole valuation. When you have the concept, you have the design. How do you manufacture? How do you manufacture? How do you simulate? How do you do a lot of engineering design stuff? So that's one of the challenges that we are facing as engineers. We have the innovative ideas, we have the concept, but the thing is that how do we push it to the end? Everything stops at design, procurement, manufacturing, development, product development, and everything. How do we push it to the end? We don't have such facilities in Nigeria, which is
thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I think the only thing I just want to add to that is that don't be faced by titles at the moment, right? Don't be faced by titles. Remember what I said, the people that have father and the person that doesn't have a father, when the people that have father, when you're talking to them, just if you feel in your mind that you're an engineer and that's what you would like to be, just keep going along those lines, okay? Just keep going along those lines. And before you know what's happening, you're going to get there, okay? There are different methods, like you said, if you're not in Nigeria, there are several ways in which even you do physics electronics that you can be an engineer. So don't be faced at the title at the beginning. Don't be focused on that, okay? Just leave that alone for now and focus on what you want to do. And I believe that all of that way, because we can't really change Kuren's mind or anybody's mind. Even engineers will be fighting. Why will you call yourself an engineer? We can't really change anybody's mind. So I'll just say, don't be focused on the title. Just keep doing what you're doing. And also, success has so many children, okay? If you become a pioneer innovator tomorrow and you tell NSC, I want to be an engineer, believe me, they will run after you to become an engineer. So just keep on doing what you're doing. Just before, thank you so much for the panel. Thank you so much. It's been beautiful. The last thing I just wanted to say while you guys are on here is just to tell the people that have attended today that our next webinar actually is going to be in June, and is actually something called Starting and Sustaining an Engineering Business in Nigeria. Because I see that there are a lot of people with ideas and all of that. And we've done that once before. And so we're going to do it again, because what we're trying to do is, how do you look at the way fintech has taken up in Nigeria? So the next thing we're doing is starting and sustaining our engineering business in Nigeria webinar. So that's going to be the next webinar. So please watch out for it in your emails. We're going to send you emails. And also today, very soon, our admin team and lovely admin head, Ms. Adedu, is going to be speaking to us about our mentorship program that we've put together as Age Reality. So that answers some of the questions that are being asked here today. So also we are looking at doing an innovators program, but we have to do we're working in that. All of that is work in progress. But while we are doing our own work, make sure you don't stop doing your own work, right? Make sure that you don't just leave everything and wait until somebody's going to come. Use YouTube, use Google, use all of these things, and use all the resources you have. So thank you very much for our panel. I will just unpin everyone now, and I'm going to be going off to Madam Adedoyin of Age Reality, and she's going to be speaking to us about our mentorship program. Hello, you're welcome. And
Hello.
So please, yeah, everyone listen carefully. You're going to see how you're going to be able to join our mentorship program in a moment. So the floor is yours, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. Let me share my screen. All right, so I believe my screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, my task here is very simple. I will be unveiling an exciting program that we have for you all. But I would like to start this conversation, by very quickly, just talking about two quotes. And the first is by Sir Isaac Newton. And he said, "If I have sinned further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And so this basically speaks to the fact that, ideas do not necessarily come from you alone. Rather, there are giants in your fields, right? Who have made significant contributions and strides to the body of knowledge, who have done great innovative things. And so it's critical to, put yourself in a situation where you can be influenced by these people, as we've, spoken about so vastly today. And then the second quote is by Denzel Washington. And he said, "Show me a successful individual, and I will show you someone who had real positive influences in his or her life. I don't care what you do for a living. If you do it well, I'm sure there was someone cheering you on or showing you the way, a mentor." And this is so true. I know in my life personally, I have definitely, my life is a sum total of being mentored by so many amazing people. And so that's why we're so pumped and so glad to unveil our pilot program to you. So we have this End Realities mentorship program. I believe a lot of you guys must be so excited about this, because a lot of people have asked questions regarding how can we get mentored, how can we get plugged in? And so, yeah, that's what we have planned for you guys. The program will be kicking off on the 1st of May, 2022. And basically it will be a program that will run for 3 months, because this is our pilot program. So we'll be doing it, we'll be doing this first cohort for 3 months. And it's basically, a mentorship program that connects you as a young engineer with mentors that have gone ahead of you in the engineering fields. And it will provide both, mentors and mentees opportunities to develop new relationships and share experiences. And so as a participant in the program, you will be paired with a mentor who will be an experienced engineer and who will guide you through our carefully designed mentorship journey. So Engineer Adewale spoke extensively about, not being discouraged, having a cheerleader, not being a jack of all trades, master of none, having someone who can hold your hand, who can hold you accountable. Yes, these and many more are the things that we have planned for you in the program. So how is it going to pan out? Mentees will apply online to participate in our first mentorship cohort, and each mentorship cohort, like I mentioned, will last for 3 months. So we'll begin in the month of May, and it will end in July rather, May, June, July, yes. So we are going to be the ones to match you with the mentors based on your area of specialization, based on your specific interest, okay? And the mentor relationships will be one-on-one relationships as well. And some mentors might also have multiple mentees, depending on your area of interest. But a mentee will only have a single mentor, okay? So I hope that's clear. It's just like a parent can have multiple children, right? But a child will only have one parent. Well, what do you stand to gain from applying? Just to list a few, you get to receive valuable career advice and insights. You get an opportunity to expand your professional network. You get to grow your confidence as a young professional. And of course, you get to learn from the experience of various successful professionals who are in Nigeria and also out of Nigeria. So for the application process for Cohort 1 will be open to everyone who created a personal DP or a personalized, branded poster for today's program, okay? And we have a list of 65 people who did that. So if you are one of them, I will post a link to a Google form in the chat, and then you can fill the form with your details and we'll reach out to you, okay? And for Cohort 2, if you are interested in joining Cohort 2, be sure to join our mailing list, and to watch out for our email so that we'll reach out to you on that. So yeah, I hope you guys are as excited as I am for our EMP program. Thank you, Mr. Lu. You're muted.
All right, I'm muted. Thank you so much for that. All right, thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. And it's so good. And what I've done, just as you were speaking, is if there's anyone here today, for the people that are actually in attendance, you can actually, if you post that link in the chat for them, please. If you're here today and you want to get on that mentoring program, yes, please get on that, because the people that are here that have listened and have stayed to the end, so I've deactivated the function for the profile creation. So if you just go on there, for the people that are here today that want to get on our mentorship program, please just fill that link and get on it. You get the opportunity just because you're here and you still to the end. That's the little we can do, to reward you for coming today. So please, yes, that's the link. Just copy it and then you can get on that mentorship program. All right. So we'll create spaces for you on that mentorship program, because we can see that you are really vested in your own personal development. You're interested in actually becoming a person of significance. So it's been beautiful. We're also still going to send out the link. We're not going to send out that link in the email. So if you want to copy that link right now, if you are here, you want to copy that link and just open it and fill it immediately, because once you send it, we can't send it to the general public. So please fill that link and then you will be able to participate as part of that mentorship program. And we're going to be in touch. So I want to just say, my closing remark. It's already 7:30. I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming. It's been beautiful. Left to me, I wish we could do this every week. See the level of knowledge in the room. See the way our speaker spoke. See from Engineer Adewale to Engineer Ian to Engineer Folari. See just the wisdom they were able to give to us. And I wanted to spotlight something that Engineer Folari said. He said, take your industrial training serious. Some of us, we don't take some of these opportunities serious. Some people just want to eat and make money. It doesn't take any opportunity you see as an engineer, take it very seriously, all right? Don't just see it as, because it's going to really matter a lot to your career and future. So I just wanted to highlight that as something he said as part of answering the question. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been great having you here today. If you want to put in the comment section what you learned, or you want to leave a feedback for us, we really appreciate it. But please tell your friends about it. We're going to send this video out. The purpose of doing this it's not a crowd, but it's to get the knowledge impact out, right? Because we believe that a lot of people can really benefit from this. And this is already the mentoring process, you know, having these people, even if you have one mentor, you might not be able to get everything you got here today from one mentor, but 4 people have spoken. In fact, 5 people have spoken. See the quote Mrs. Adedoyin gave to us just now. You know, see how she has inspired us. So please, when we send out the replay to the video, send it to your friends. Let them listen. Let them be inspired. There's no room for frustration, right? There is no room for being down, all right? So please ensure that, you know, you can do it. If I can do it, if I can make a career out of engineering, you can do it. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's the wrong engineering course, or maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Maybe you're in Nigeria, maybe you're abroad. You have seen today people in Nigeria making a good use of their career, people traveling, making a bit, people getting scholarship. You know, I like what Engineer Adewale said, and that stuck with me. He contributed money in cooperative for 1 year to be able to write his certification exam. I hope you listen to that. I hope you listen to that so that you can give your destiny. Don't just say, I don't have the money, I don't have this. What are you doing in terms of your own contribution to your own personal development? He had to do that. And that's great. I was telling Engineer, one of my friends sold Indomie as Indomie packs until he was able to travel out of the country to Germany to go and do his master's. So what are you going to give to get the destiny that you want? Are you going to keep blaming the government? No, because the government keep changing and things are not changing. So you can't keep blaming the government. You have to move on with your own career and destiny. So I just want to leave you with those words today. What are you going to give? What are you going to do? How are you going to inspire yourself? How are you going to practice your English? How are you going to practice your communication skill? How are you going to research for your interviews? How are you going to research the certifications that you need? So the question is, the ball is in your court. The ball is in your court. There's so much you can't control, but at the same time, there's so much you can control. So let's control what we can control and make the best of what we have. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for coming. Please, can you say thank you to all my speakers? Thank you so much. It's been brilliant. It's been wonderful. Thank you for staying till the end. We have a lot of people staying to the end, and we're so grateful for that. Thank you. If you want to reach out for us, link the profile of our speakers. We will send it in the email, right? Okay, but please don't bombard them with unnecessary messages. Please just be very polite. Let's learn politeness, and also reach out, you know, or to them. And I hope that you can accept or follow them or follow their work for everyone. So thank you once again. It's been beautiful. It's been great. If you have any further questions, you can reply to our email. We'll try to see if we can still answer. But yeah, please, you know, we can answer all your questions, but we've answered quite a lot today. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for staying over. The link is going to be left open in the chat for about 10 minutes so that, you know, we can click that link and fill it for the people that are here today. All right. If you are here today, because after tonight, we're not going to make it available for the people that are not created those DPs. So please, if you are here today, just fill that link, and it will be great. So thank you so much. Thank you, Engineer Adewale, once again. Thank you, Engineer Ian, and thank you, Engineer Folari. We are so grateful. So thank you. And with that, I say bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.